Okay, welcome guys to the next Blender tutorial. So today we're going to be making kind of like a candle stand with a candle in it, kind of like a very oldie worldy one. So what we're going to do, go ahead and delete your default cube to begin with. I'm just going to go ahead and just put these on whilst we're doing that. So just press the delete key on your keyboard. We're going to go ahead and start off with a circle. I'm just going to scale this out just a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and just split the screen as well. Oops, not that way. Come on. It's not splitting. There we go. Right, so on this side I'm just going to press 1 so that we've got a sideways view. So you guys can see what's going on right there. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way. And then this one I'll just build just on top. So when we're making one of these, we want to select this little circle that we've made right here. Go to edit mode. We're going to go to F for fill. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go E for extrude, and we're just going to make the base for this. So we're going to go E for extrude just slightly, scale it outwards. So we've got that nice little bevel that's going on just on the side. I'm going to go E for extrude again, scale outwards, just smooth it off, E for extrude, and then we're going to go E for extrude, scale it in, E for extrude, scale it in, again. And what we're really wanting is kind of like a kind of disc kind of look to it. So this one is a little bit thick at the moment, so I'm just going to press A. Just going to scale this down, just to show you how you can curve this just around the outside without it being too small. I'm going to press G and just bring this down to where it needs to be. So once you've got this nice and flat in the middle right here, select this face in the middle, and we're just going to go E for extrude, bring it up, scale it inwards. You've got E for extrude again, and we're going to do like a little bit of a bevel just here. So I'm just going to scale this in just slightly. E for extrude, I'm just going to go outwards just slightly, outwards again just slightly. We just want to make this nice and curved just in the middle right here. Just E for extrude, keep going like that. And then I'm going to start coming inwards on these top parts. So we've got this nice little triangle kind of thing going on just on the centre. Scale it outwards just a little bit, and then E for extrude, bring it up again, and then we want to kind of repeat this pattern as we're going up. You can do it any pattern that you want to. For me personally, I'm just going to do this kind of pattern today. You can add some more ridges in here if you'd like as well, make it real pretty. Also, if you pay attention to the grids right here, you can see that this line right here should match up with this line. You see that I've gone over just slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Control Z, just backtrack this a little bit. I'm just going to go G, press down, and we are going to just scale that one just outwards a little bit. So you want it a little bit more uniform for creations. Kind of, if you're building this for a game, you don't want this to be top heavy. You want it to be nice and fluid. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, so we'll scale this in. We'll E for extrude again. We'll scale this just to there. I'm just going to pull this back so you guys can see what's going on. E for extrude again. Just try and get it so that the center pole as well is roughly in line with the base just here, because then it's going to look a little bit more neater, it's going to look a little bit more professional. So I was about to go straight up from here, but to be honest with you, this doesn't line up to the line just there. So I'm just going to go ahead and just pull this in just a little bit. And we're going to go E for extrude again, and then I'm going to start making the top of the candle in a moment. So, oops, ignore me, I just did something wrong there. I'm just going to go back to, where was I? Yeah, okay. So we've got this one right here. We're just going to go E for extrude, bring it up. And we want that little bit to be kind of like a handle, a little bit, because you got to think someone's got to grab this, right? So let's make this one a little bit wider. We'll just scale this one outwards just a little bit. Again, just pay attention to your grids that you've got going on. So let's go with just scale it out, bring it back. And make sure as well you're going across the axes. So when I say axes, I'm going to press G, and you see these lines that come up right here. So if I go along this red line right here, you can see that it kind of screws up a little bit. If we go across the green one, it's going to do the same. So you got to stay with the blue one. The blue one's Z. So we're just going to go E for extrude again, and I'm just going to go ahead and just turn these ones in. Maybe we could just go to there. I think that's a little bit too short. I'm just going to amend that. Let's go E for extrude. It's a bit too big. It was too small and now it's too big. Yeah, I'd say that's roughly where we need to be. Okay, so when we get to this top part right here, we're going to go E for extrude, and we're just going to kind of scale it outwards, and then maybe just bring it in for a little bit of a ridge. Just there. And then we could go E for extrude, bring it in a little bit of a ridge again. And then this is going to be the top part where the candle is going to sit. So just ever so gently bring that in. Let's go E for extrude, scale outwards. What I'm going to do, I'm going to press G and just bring this down just a little bit as well. And we're going to go E for extrude again. Scale at the side, E for extrude. And then at this point we're going to have like this little bowl going on. And then we're going to make the bevel upon the edge. So when you do the bevel upon the edge, all you need to do is just scale it inwards just slightly. E for extrude. We're going to go ahead and scale that inwards just slightly. E for extrude, leave it where it is. And then this point we're just going to scale it in. So now we've got this lip going on. And we're going to go E for extrude again, bring it down. And at this point you can kind of bring it inwards if you want to, or you can bring it outwards a little bit if you wanted it a thick kind of glass. I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the X-ray right here so you guys can see what I'm doing on the inside. We're going to go E for extrude. So this is going to be the well for the candle. So we kind of want it to go inwards just slightly to kind of catch the wax. Because the wax isn't going to drop straight down, it's just going to kind of gently go inwards. Okay, so we'll just pull this inwards. So now we're going to need somewhere to put the candle. So I'm going to put this just here. So this is why we need to keep consistent with the stem of this. Make sure as well that the bowl doesn't exceed the actual stand. Again, you don't want this top heavy. So once we've got this bit in the middle, we're just going to scale this outwards just a little bit, and I'm going to go E for extrude and just drop it. Now you notice that this goes past here. So if it does go past here, just scale it downwards just a little bit again. Just watch your lining and just go E and just scale it down. And maybe you can just scale it inwards just a little bit and then go E again. So it looks like the hold is a little bit too big for the candle kind of thing. We're going to right click, shade smooth. So this would be our little candle holder that's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and add in plain just to give some depth. You don't have to add this if you don't want to. Okay, so the next part that we need is the candle itself. So with the candle, we can take a cylinder, just scale this outwards. Instead of going like with a circle and then, you know, just taking everything down and stuff like that, we can go with a cylinder. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Let's get this cylinder just lined up just here. So now we can go for G, bring it down, scale it inwards. So it's there, G, bring it down. Okay, so once we've got this little kind of candle thing going on, and I mean the base is absolutely huge for this one. I could reduce that, to be honest with you. I can right click, shade smooth. So when we do this, we're going to go to edit mode. Take this face right here. I think there's like a really high pollen count today, like my nose is killing me. Take your candle, sorry, bit personal there, but it's summer, there's a lot of pollen. E for extrude, we're going to scale inwards just slightly, give this a little bit of a bevel. E for extrude again, scale inwards, so we kind of got that weird waxy look that candles have. And because this candle's going to be lit, so we're going to go E for extrude, keep it where it is. Sort of keep it where it is. We're going to go and place this right here. If for extrude, bring this down. So now we've got this kind of well going on. We're going to just scale it inwards just slightly to look like the wax has kind of dripped off the edges. So the next bit that we're going to do, if we go to object mode, just leave your candle where it is. We're going to go to cylinder again. We will go G, bring this up, scale this up, and then bring it down for a nice little wick that's going to sit right in the top right here. So at the minute it doesn't look candle-like to me, but okay, so you can actually turn this wick as well, because mostly when you light candles, the wick itself, instead of being totally straight, kind of curves over a little bit. So we're going to do that too. Let's just scale this downwards just a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and shade this smooth, and then I'm going to go into edit mode. You can do this any way that you'd like to, but to be honest with you, I'm just going to do it this way. So I'm just going to take this right here on the side. So we're going to go E for extrude, then go E for extrude again, R for rotate. We're going to go G, bring it forward, E for extrude, it should just go straight up like that. I'm just going to go R for rotate, press G, bring it across, E for extrude, R for rotate, G, bring it down, and then E for extrude. And then as the candle burns, this is going to get a little bit thinner. So what we're going to do, press G, rotate, E for extrude, and then I'm just going to thin this out just a little bit on the end from where it's burnt away. So when we go to object mode, we can then shade this smooth. So as regards to the flame that we're going to put into this, I'm just going to use an emission for this project. So now you can make this wick a little bit bigger, I think. It just kind of looks a little bit small for what it is. So we're going to go ahead and add, you can go ahead and add an icosphere if you want to. Or you can make the flame if you really wanted to. I'm thinking like, if you take the icosphere, you can then go into the sculpting mode and just pick up the end of it and kind of curl it over a little bit and then add the emission. If you take a cylinder, you have more control over it, and then you can just build it from the bottom and you can build it from the top. Now, if we select UV sphere, it might actually work in our favour a little bit more than creating it ourselves, especially if you're new to Blender. Sculpt mode may be your friend in this instance. So if we just put this on top just right here, shade it smooth, and then we go from object mode to sculpt mode, and then we click on the elastic grab, we can now pull this in any direction that we would like to. So if you've got a wind that's coming into the scene, you can go ahead and pull this to the side. Just kind of make it flame-like. I think that would be the best option for us within this project. I'm just going to squish this down a little bit. Okay, so when we take this, what we can actually do is place it right here, just on the side. So when flames are burning on candles, what you tend to get is this kind of little bit of transparency. So what we can do with this, if we go into the render mode, make sure that in your render tab you've switched from EV to cycles. This is what we should have. So what I'm going to do, go down to the materials menu at the bottom. It should be the little kind of ready pink world. We're going to go to the drop down menu of new. We're going to go to emission, and we'll change this to a nice little orange, kind of just a nice little setback glow. We can turn this up, we can turn this down. You can also shrink this if it's too big. So I'm just going to take this wick as well, and we're going to go new, and then we'll go to black, maybe make it slightly brown. So with this flame right here, if we just add a little bit more of an orange kind of glow to it, you can, in theory, make it slightly transparent. Now, if you wanted to do that, it would be under the other tab. It wouldn't be in emission. It would be possibly in Principled BSDF, and you'd have to tweak some of the settings. So For example, if I went to Principal BSDF, I'll just show you this as an example. I can actually take the alpha and reduce it. So now we kind of have this nice little kind of smoky flame. Now, if you can figure out how to do this on emission, yeah, it'd be really good. But for me personally, like, I don't quite know how you do that, but you can make this transparent kind of thing. So, if that's an option for you, I mean, for a game, if you're making a game or anything like that, a candle with a flame, it's just a background prop, you know what I mean? You can make it more detailed if the engine can allow you to make it more detailed, but just in this instance, I don't think we're going to be able to do that with the emission. I don't think Blender is capable of doing that at the moment. You know, I could be wrong. There could be a setting down here somewhere that'll allow you to do it, but if you can, make that flame slightly transparent. So, with the stand itself, we can go new. Maybe we can make this kind of like a silver kind of stand, a little bit metallic. Take down the roughness just a little bit. I don't like the silver on this. I think it's just too much for the scene. I'm going to go ahead and change it from white, maybe to kind of a gold. A gold colour would be real cool with this. Make it reflective. Little candle stand. So, you could also make your candle a little bit bigger if you wanted to. So if we shrink this down and then just pull it up a little bit, you can make that a little bit more detailed. As long as it's not clipping the bottom here, should be absolutely fine. So don't bring it down too much that it's going to show through the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this external light. It's a bit distracting. So with the flame on this one, we just turn it up a little bit. You can see we've got that going on. So if we go new with the candle, subsurface, you can mess around with this actually. If we go to transmission as well, should be getting a little bit of reflection there. So what you want is just a little bit of transmission going through, so that you've got kind of that light waxy kind of look to it. And also you want to turn up your metallic just a little bit. So with this candle itself, let's go back to the regular render. It's looking a little bit stiff. I'm just going to go shade smooth, and we're going to go to sculpt mode. Now you want to go on to this one, which is the blob. So this will enable you to add and take away certain surfaces from this piece. Now, there's not a lot of vertices here that we're working with. If we go into edit mode, you can see it's all just straight lines. There's not a lot to work with. So what I'm going to do, press A, right click, subdivide, right click, subdivide. And even you can do this as well. Control R. And you'll notice that this little yellow circle appears around it. If you scroll the wheel, you're going to get more vertices. Now, at the bottom of a candle, you probably won't have as much wax dripping down, but if you've just started doing the candle, the candle will have the wax at the top. So, if we go into the sculpt mode, we can now start to pick little bits just out the side of the candle, so it looks like the wax has slowly started to melt. There's this kind of weird hue about it, and maybe we could get this kind of dripping down. And it's even better when you've not got enough vertices at the bottom, because it just looks like it's ran down the edge of the candle. So maybe this candle's been a little bit wrecked. Maybe it's been lit before and then they blew it out, and now the candle is a little bit funky in places. So if it's too funky in places, you can also use the flatten contrast tool and just flatten little bits out. I know when I was a kid, I used to pick candles up and drip the wax. I used to collect at the bottom, especially if you've got those candles that are in glasses as well. The wax sticks to the sides. So if you're going to make a candle in a jar, have some of that wax come up the side of the glass. Let's just pull that a little bit there. So, it's looking a bit peaky. Certainly looking a bit peaky, so I'm just going to smooth this out just a little bit. I think I went overboard with mine. Let me see. They've actually changed some of the stuff on here. I think. Oh, I can scroll it. It's cool. Right, yeah. So you've got all these different ones as well that you can do. I'm just going to go with smear. Let's see what that does. I do like to experiment with this as well because it's just nice sometimes. Oh, wow. that's like Mordor. Let's not Mordor this. So you got the pull as well. You can pull little bits in, little bits down. I do like to experiment with this because it shows you as well what you can use. Say like you might not use it right now, but if I'm experimenting with it and I'm going like, oh, you know, what does this do? You know, you could look at that later on and go, that's an idea. I could use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and shade smooth again. If you want this a little bit smoother, we can go to the add modifier section. We can go smooth. Well, why don't you have a smooth? We can go bevel actually. I think they changed a few things. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with. Oh no, not auto smooth. I'll try to smooth this out a little bit. Let's go back to the sculpt mode. Because they've changed everything. I'm looking at these icons, going like, where did this go? Sorry, give me 1 second. If you can find the smooth, then by all means, just use the smooth. I think that might work in our favour. A very rugged candle. Okay, see what this looks like. So we've got this going on. So, you can also mess around with some of the, we got emission here as well. Make it glow a little bit. Oh, I've got an idea. My brain has just gone ping. Right. You like we were trying to find that thing before where we can make the flame invisible? I've got it. Right, so what we're going to do, change this from an emission. Click your flame. Change this from emission to principal BSDF. There's method to my madness. Hold on. Where did I just find that? Okay, principal BSDF is an emission at the bottom. I didn't realise that existed. That's what I'm meaning. It's interesting when you're finding all this stuff. So, where was the emission at? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we're in subsurface or we're in transition? I think we're in subsurface. Oh. That's really interesting. Okay. So why can I do it with that one? Let's close all these boxes, try and find out what we're looking at right now. It's gotta be transmission. Subsurface. Oh, how bizarre. That's really bizarre. Oh, I've got principal hair. Oh my gosh, principal BSDF. I've clicked the one underneath. That's what's going on. I'm looking for this going. It doesn't exist. Like, why is this not existing? So, we can take this right here. Make this a little bit orange. Turn up the emission right there. So, clever part. We can now make this slightly invisible. Slightly transparent even. So, what we're going to do. You've got the stroke for the emission right there. You should be in principal BSDF and not in hair BSDF. Principal BSDF. And we're going to just lower the alpha. So now you can see that the wick has come from the outside just here. So if I just go back onto this wick bit right here. Call to get down. Sorry, my dog's on all my stuff again. Let's just pull that up just slightly so that we have that slight transparency, but we also have the flame. Hey, sorry, he's literally trying to get in all my stuff right now. Come on, behave yourself. Huh? Right, so we have the candle right here. You've kind of got your very rough wax that looks like a child has been tipping the candle everywhere. I'm sure you can make that a lot neater than I can. Yeah, that would be your candle. You can actually go ahead and improve some of the emission strength right here if you wanted to. So if we actually had a wall next to this, maybe this would look a lot better because you can't really see what's going on. So Shift E this, rotate by 90, just take that down just a little bit. You can see some of the hue on the side of the emission right here. Just going to pull that up just a little bit more. Yeah, I think we need a lot more emission with this, especially with this piece. It's all about experimenting with Blender, really. There's a lot of things that I've seen in other render engines that do things a lot better than Blender does, but Blender, you have to understand, is an open source software, so sometimes I'll look at things and I'll go, I need to go do this, but I don't know how to do it in Blender, and then I'll research it, and then I'll figure it out in some sort of way, or I'll kind of, the terminology I would use is backdooring. So if you can't do it one way, there's possibly another way that you could do something, such as the flame that we just did right now, because I didn't realise that there was actually an emission within Principled BSDF. We've now managed to get the flame to be bright and slightly transparent so that we can see the wick. So we've kind of solved something within this video, within its entirety, just by purely experimenting with what we're doing. So what I would like to do, because this looks a little bit too flat, I'm going to go ahead and add a circle. So if we just go into regular mode at the moment, press G, bring this circle up that you've just made. I'm just going to go, excuse me, wow, losing my voice today. So just going to press G, bring it in. We'll go to edit mode, we'll press F for fill. So now you kind of get into think, what is she doing? Why is she putting that there? This is wet wax or heated wax. So we're going to go to object mode, going to go ahead and go to new, and let's go, just thinking, you know what, we'll stay with Principled BSDF, we'll turn up the metallic, and we'll turn down the roughness. So what we should have when we render it is something like this. So we've got this kind of little kind of waxy look to it. I think it's too metallic, and I think if we just have that little bit of reflection and we take down the alpha just slightly, it'll give us that transparency that we need. So now this wax, this wick that's in the middle, we can't exactly see it very well because this candle's too bright. So you can also reduce the candle light if you want to. Candles shouldn't be the exact same emission as regular lights, but you should have some sort of emission. So it should be a glow rather than straight full-on light. Do it just like this. So now we can see that we've got this nice little reflection of the flame. The flame's kind of going off in one direction. If you wanted to, you could animate this to kind of just like go back and forth, go all over the place, go crazy. I'm not doing animation for this particular one. So another thing that you could do is you could actually Veroni texture this and scratch it up a little bit if you wanted to, because it looks a little bit too perfect. So let's do that actually.